Chapter 21. Should have rained for me on Monday, but it didn't. As if to mock me, the sun shone in all its glory, and there was not a single cloud in the sky. I had a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. It was the sort of feeling you have when you've thrown up so much and there isn't anything left in your stomach, but you keep retching. I saw Chi when you saw off with a kiss and went back to bed. There was a chance I would be sacked, but I didn't care. Tossed and turned for a bit, replaying the events at the wedding for the 100th time. Meeting all those wonderful people, and then bam, Philip came along like a bull. If it weren't for Chiwoniso, I would regret ever having met him, but she was undeniably the one good thing that had come out of it all. The man hadn't spoken to me in months, and then he puts his grimy hands around me as if I'm a piece of furniture. When I closed my eyes, I saw all the guests looking and pointing at me and felt even sicker. I had sense enough at 10 o'clock to pick up the phone and call Mrs. Kumalo. If I was going to get sacked, then at least I should get it over and done with. Hello, she answered on a crackly line. I'm not feeling well. I can't come into work today. I wasn't lying. I felt horrible. You should talk to Doomy. He's your manager. What an idea. I couldn't bear to speak with him. He hadn't come home on Sunday, and I'd feared for the worst. I tried to call the salon, but the phone was engaged. It should be all right. Take all the time you need, my dear. I'll see you at work tomorrow. She hung up. I closed the curtains and crawled back into bed. My day brought me a cup of tea, which I left on the sideboard until it grew cold. I felt worse than a drug addict coming down from a high. I shut my eyes and drifted in and out of consciousness. All I needed was someone with a gun to put me out of my misery. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't know, so I let it ring out. It rang again and then again. I gave up and answered it. Hello? Is this Mumbai? It's Michelle. I'm driving up and down Clyde Road like a lunatic. I've knocked on two wrong houses already. Which one is your place? Number 10. It's the one with the black gate. You can't miss it. Thanks. She hung up. I jumped out of bed and looked for something presentable to wear. She was tooting at the gate, so I sent my day to open it for her. The wardrobe was full of clean clothes, but none of them seemed good enough. My hair was a mess, and I could hear them coming into the house. Tisviqueo, Michelle said, which sounded funny in her American accent. Just give me 2 minutes, I called out. I'm going to tell my parents that their Marora is so lazy she sleeps until 1 in the afternoon. I pulled on a pair of blue jeans and a white shirt and tied my hair back in a ponytail. That would have to do for the time being. I rushed out and greeted her. She rose and kissed my cheeks. Welcome to my house. Make yourself feel at home. My day came out with a glass of diluting juice, and I sent her back to get some Coke and said, This is a nice house you have, Michelle said, looking around. You can't say that. You live in a palace. I was flattered. Really, it is nice and cozy. I can see why Doomy moved in here. I remained silent. It would reflect badly on me if they thought that we were already living together as a couple. Especially with the scene that Philip had caused at the party. She could tell that I was uncomfortable, so she added, When I was in Memphis, I lived with an older guy for 3 months, but we broke up before I came back. He found it tough to be with me because I made him do all the cooking and cleaning. I told him in Africa we have maids, so I wasn't used to it. He must have got scared at the prospect of a lifetime with me, and so he ran. I laughed, relieved that she was sharing her dirty little secret with me. What's it like in America? It's all right, but it's nothing like home. The people there don't wash. She got up, moved over to the radio, and looked at my CD collection. This music is so old. Those are the classics, I retorted. Who listens to Tevin Campbell or Casey and JoJo anymore? She put the CDs neatly back in their place. Chiwoniso came running in and jumped on me. She was still in her uniform, and her satchel dangled on her back. Mummy, I'm hungry. And who do we have here? Michelle moved forward, offering her hand. This is my daughter, Chiwoniso. My heart fluttered. They would never accept me if they knew I already had a child, and worse, one born out of wedlock. I felt my heart sink even as I looked at my precious baby. Oh my God, she's so cute. Come here, come to Auntie Michelle. Picking her up, Michelle brought Chiwoniso over to the sofa next to me. They were smiling at each other and holding hands. Why didn't you tell me you had a daughter? I'm feeling so broody right now. Look at her. This reaction took me by surprise. If I hadn't composed myself, I would have gasped. The inevitable question followed. Who's the father? I buried my head in my hands. You don't want to know. Of course I do. And if he's single, I'm getting myself a sperm donation. She laughed as if this was the most natural thing to say in the world. Philip Mabayo. That jackass. Hell no, I ain't going there. We both laughed. So that explains why he was being such a prick at the wedding. I had told her how I hadn't seen Philip in ages, and that there had been nothing between us for years. Michelle was a good listener and very sympathetic when she learned that he had reneged on his responsibilities as a father. We laughed at the thought of Philip losing his two front teeth. Every time he speaks, it will sound like Michelle said. Even at 19, she was of the same opinion as I was that all men were pigs. She could not take her eyes off Chiwoniso, and in my relief, I felt happy. But Michelle was just one person. What of the whole family? I wondered if they would all be so open minded. Dumi never came back home on Saturday. I was anxious to find out the extent of the damage Philip had inflicted. It's not because of Philip. That reassured me. Patrick and Sungai were leaving for their honeymoon in Jamaica on Sunday, so we all had to be there to see them off at the airport. He might stay over a few more days just for us to catch up on things. Why did he fall out with the rest of the family? He's such a nice guy that I find it hard to believe he would ever fall out with anyone, at least not intentionally. All families squabble. I was in America when it happened. It was probably nothing, but Dumi is a sensitive guy. The important thing is that we are together now as a family, plus you, of course. You're going to be my best friend in the whole wide world. Charm must have been a genetic trait in the Nkube family. Michelle had made me feel better from the moment I'd met her. We talked about a lot of things. I found myself wondering if this was real or a facade. Dumi had said I was his girlfriend, but we'd never spoken about having a relationship. If it was a game, how far should I play along with it? Why were we playing it in the first place? I needed answers.